Buhari again calls world attention to humanitarian needs of internally displaced persons.
We really have to look at those solutions that are peculiar to our circumstances.
Federal government works private sector into efforts to take the country out of recession. And Chief Justice of Nigeria reads Riot Act to judicial officers on conflicting judgments as new legal year begins. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on NTA Network News. I'm Cyril Stober. Nigeria has warned that unless there is collective resolve by world leaders to develop more effective strategies in addressing large movements of refugees and migrants, as well as humanitarian needs of IDPs in Nigeria, the global aspirations towards achieving the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals may be impeded. President Muhammadu Buhari, who gave the warning while addressing participants at the United Nations' first ever summit on refugees and migrants in New York, said humanity is better promoted and protected if leaders work for the common good of all. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports that over 190 heads of state and governments attended the summit. And President Muhammadu Buhari has urged member nations of the non-aligned movement to share experiences in tackling the global economic crises characterized by the collapse of commodity prices, worsening youth unemployment, and exchange rate instability. His views are expressed in a message read on his behalf by the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Hajia Khadija Bukar Abba Ibrahim, at the 17th Summit of Heads of State and Government of the Non-Aligned Movement in Margarita, Venezuela. There is an urgent need, the President said, to create jobs for the teeming population, explore creative ways to add value to terms of trade, ensure good governance, and also tackle the challenge of corruption. The President's message also focused on the need for the Sustainable Development Goals to be truly people-centered so as to promote enduring peace and security, discourage migration in search of imaginary greener pastures, as well as insulate youths from indoctrination and recruitment into criminality. In the meantime, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has identified the private sector as critical to help the nation respond to recession. And as the Presidential Quarterly Business Forum commences, he's promised steady engagement with stakeholders towards uplifting the nation's economy. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
The issue has always been that the government has not been engaging with the private sector in driving the economy, and thus Presidential Quarterly Business Forum is providing that platform towards jointly addressing the challenges of the recession.
Even in looking at our solutions, we really have to look at those solutions that are peculiar to our circumstances. And I would really want to respectfully urge that we try and focus on the type of problems that we have and look at what solutions can come from there.
The top challenges with the Nigerian economy, which the forum identified, include access to finance, high interest rate, high energy cost, transport and infrastructure deficit, low support for local manufacturing, unfriendly business environment, and inconsistent government policies, amongst other challenges. What has been lacking, as explained by the Vice President, was the political will to confront these challenges headlong, and the Buhari administration, he says, is addressing them, calling on the private sector to partner with government.
Completely committed to ensuring that young people are very much a part of what is going on, and we think that we simply cannot even ignore them.
Presentation from the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Udo Utoma, reveals positive steps being taken by the administration on the state of the economy.
We want to turn what is a crisis into an opportunity. We want to use this crisis to change the economy of Nigeria for good. That is our aim.
Our commitment to stimulating this economy with the infrastructural capital spend is a clear one. We're raising money, even though the markets are difficult, but we'll raise money to make sure that we back up what we say. And I think that will restore confidence to a lot of contractors. So my message to everybody is that it's going to be much better. We're getting there. We're making progress. There's signs that we'll be able to turn this economy around, and we remain very confident.
There's hope that we will get out of this recession and that our country will be better for it. So yes, it's a blessing in disguise.
It's a very good event in the sense that it's a way of communicating with the private sector who run the economy.
From the banquet hall of the State House, Jide Onifade, NT News.
And President Muhammadu Buhari has challenged the Nigerian Institute of Management to be actively involved in public sessions of the National Assembly to offer professional advice when bills are being considered. The President, represented by the Head of Service of the Federation, Winifred Oyoita, gave the charge while declaring open the Institute's annual conference in Abuja. Joseph Orok reports.
Apart from noted options of diversifying the nation's economy, boosting production and patronizing made in Nigeria's products, effective management of resources by Nigerians and the governments remains the sure way out of the prevailing economic recession. And so, as about 3,000 professional managers converged on Abuja to deliberate on the theme, Building a New Nigeria, Strategic Options and Policy Imperative, it is expected that useful decisions will be made to move the country forward. Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Winifred Oyoita, who represented President Buhari at the event, urged professional bodies to support government's efforts at getting the economy back on track rather than criticizing.
To set this country on the path of greatness and prosperity, complete elimination of all forms of corrupt practice must be in the front burner and our collective consciousness always. You will agree with me that a great nation is the reward of great leadership built on good governance. This is our motivation and value proposition.
Chairman of Council, Nigerian Institute of Management, Professor Munsali Jibril, regretted the mismanagement of the nation's resources, noting that with concerted efforts to support government policies and programs, the country will bounce back.
Building a new Nigeria goes beyond bringing corrupt people to justice. It implies going to the root cause of corruption and banishing it from the land. It implies a total overhaul of the criminal justice system and the personnel who enforce the law.
The conference is expected to come up with resolutions that will aid the change agenda of the present administration. Joseph Orok, NTA News.
The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Mahmood Mohammed, says disciplinary action will be taken against judicial officers involved in conflicting judgments that do not show respect for laid down principles of law. This is one of the positions the Chief Justice of Nigeria stated at the opening of the 2016-2017 legal year of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Judiciary correspondent Femi Okewu reports.
In the last 5 to 6 months, Nigerians, who lawyers would say are not learned in the law, have expressed shock at the open combat between some judges trying to outdo each other in their rulings. Equal shock was also expressed on the judgment of some election tribunals and the Court of Appeal, which had enough precedents to follow. Now we know that the learned community, too, is no less disappointed at the disregard by some judicial officers for the principle of stare decisis. That is, the principle which compels lower courts to follow the position of superior courts of records once a pronouncement has been made by the superior court on any given matter. Every speaker at the commencement of the new legal year at the Supreme Court, beginning from the Chief Justice of Nigeria, the Attorney General of the Federation, who was represented by the Solicitor General, the body of senior advocates of Nigeria, the President of Nigerian Bar Association, and even the recent conferees, called for care by judges so as not to be seen to be playing into the hands of litigants. But the Chief Justice of Nigeria was even more assertive in the steps to be taken.
Such departures from President therefore risk creating a type of confusion which is inimical to the trust reposed in us by the people and the risk of our reputation, our integrity, and even our existence by such indiscipline.
The occasion was also used to confer the rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria on 22 legal practitioners.
Being conferred with Senior Advocate heaps on me a lot of responsibilities, and I pray God I'll be able to discharge that.
What that does is to place great responsibilities on us in terms of the sustenance of the ethics and ethos of the legal profession.
This kind of crowd can only be seen once in a year in a place like the Supreme Court. While the judiciary is using the new legal year to do a stock taking, members of the crowd are using this function to celebrate the achievement of members of their family that have just been conferred with the prestigious rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Whichever way, this ceremony is worth the while for all of them. From the Supreme Court, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
And still on the 2016-2017 legal year, judges of the Federal High Court have pledged their continued support for the fight against corruption in accordance with the ethics of the legal profession and constitution of the country. Aliu Tukur reports that the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice Ibrahim Auta, gave the commitment at the 2016-2017 legal year special court session in Abuja.
With corruption cases flooding the courtrooms across the country, relevant authorities say the role of the judiciary in the anti-corruption fight is important. The Chief Judge of the court says over 16,000 cases were filed in last legal year, where over 13,000 cases have already been disposed of. To perform better, the Chief Judge says there is need for more funding and independence of the judiciary.
The Federal High Court being the premier court in Nigeria, that this will mostly the areas where the federal government have jurisdiction, we give them all the support, timely support, and make sure that things are done fast.
On our own part, we commit ourselves to promoting the rule of law, to promoting the sanctity of contracts, and to ensuring that the business environment in this country improves, so that we can see that the country is back on the era of prosperity.
Meanwhile, devotional Christian and Muslim worship were observed at the Christian Center and National Mosque, where the message is acknowledging God as the giver of wisdom. A paper titled The Role of Religious Preachers, Imams and Pastors in the Fight Against Corruption was presented by Sheikh Ahmed Onilewura. Special prayers were also observed at both the church and mosque for the nation's judiciary and Nigeria generally. In Abuja, Aliu Tukur, NTA News.
Moving over to the legislature now, as the National Assembly reconvenes plenary Tuesday, the lawmakers have indicated their resolve to engage in robust debates on issues that will put Nigeria on a sound economic footing. National Assembly correspondent Waziri Zayanu has details.
Preparation and processing of the 2017 budget bill, devising best legislative strategies for existing economic recession, as well as conclusion of work on the petroleum industry bill are key issues that will be given maximum priority upon resumption by the Senate.
The 2017 budget has not yet come to the National Assembly, but we look forward to it, and as soon as it comes to the National Assembly, of course we'll look at it and ensure speedy passage. We all know what is happening.
The recession really need to have support by everybody. The National Assembly and the presidency must work together.
It's also to divorce party politics from governance. We cannot afford to toy with the future of Nigerians.
In spite of skepticism, reliable sources informed NTA News that the Senate President's welcome address to the senators on Tuesday is likely to dwell on ways of reviving the nation's economy. In line with the resolve, Senate President Bukola Saraki granted audience to a delegation of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. He reiterated the legislature's commitment to support and promulgate laws that will help revitalize the economy and promote local content.
We're very committed to the issue of ensuring that we provide the support the manufacturing sector.
We should be given appropriate legislative backing in order to avoid policy somersaults that could endanger investment and erode confidence.
From the National Assembly, Waziri Zayan, NTA News.
And staying in the legislature, the economic recession is likely to take center stage, even as members of the House of Representatives reconvene plenary on Tuesday after 6 weeks recess. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
The National Assembly has been on recess from the 21st of July 2016. The legislators, while stating their readiness to continue with their legislative business, said they expect an interface with the executive,
as well as other relevant stakeholders, with a view to preparing a lasting solution out of the present economic recession.
I believe that everybody must contribute his own quota to make sure we come up with a very strong and proactive ways.
The Northeast Development Commission Bill, which awaits Senate concurrence, the Petroleum Industry Bill, the Constitution Amendment Bill are some of the bills expected to receive immediate legislative attention. On the alleged controversies in the House of Representatives on budget padding, some of the legislators had this to say.
We will disappoint those who want us to fight.
And we have even amended our rules to ensure that these kind of things don't occur again.
Upon reconvening on Tuesday, the House is expected to go into a valedictory session in honor of one of its members, late Adewale Oluwatayo, whose death was announced on the 21st of July 2016. He represented Ifako Ijaye, Federal Constituency of Lagos State. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Members of the Nigerian community in London have expressed concern over the emergence of Nigeria as one of the 5 most common countries of origin for potential victims of trafficking to the UK, among other crimes. This concern was raised at a town hall meeting. Bilkisu Abdurazak Oduwe reports.
The meeting, which is a collaboration between the Nigerian High Commission, British Nigerian councillors, and Nigerian think tank group UK, is aimed at engaging Nigerians on the role of the High Commission to the community beyond immigration, especially with UK government stepping up efforts to stop modern-day slavery in the kingdom and other acts it frowns upon.
Early identification is key, is absolutely vital to tackle this issue, because gangs, it only takes months to turn even a good boy into a bad boy.
People who, force people to work, people who underpay, that is modern day slavery. That's
Chairperson of the British Nigerian Councillors Forum, with 50 members across the UK, Adedamola Aminu, advised Nigerians not to suffer in silence as some of the issues leading to their children being taken by social service, in their involvement in gangs, housing, and other challenges confronting them as immigrants can be surmounted if they contact the association and their local authorities early enough.
It's our respect to make sure that what our children, what they are doing, we follow, we monitor them, and if we are struggling, believe me, the local authorities will be far to pay to support you.
We're here to support them and ensure they do what they should be doing to project our country in the best possible light.
The meeting, which is the first in a series, is expected to further assist and equip the Nigerian community in the UK with tips on how to surmount challenges confronting them in London. Bilkisu Abdurazak Oduwe, NTA News.
And back in Nigeria, suspected Boko Haram terrorists who were foraging for food have ambushed troops of Operation Lafia Duli, escorting commercial vehicles from Damboa to Maiduguri at Sanda General area in Borno State. 5 civilians lost their lives in the incident and another died on the way to the hospital, while 3 soldiers sustained injuries. A statement by Army Public Relations Officer Sanuku Kasheka Usman says a robust patrol team has been dispatched to reinforce the troops, clear the general area, and pursue the terrorists. Meanwhile, the Theatre Command Operation Lafia Duli wishes to clarify that the recent alleged attack at Chibok is not correct, adding that what happened was that 2 people were murdered by suspected Boko Haram members looking for food at Kwemjelari village, which is over 30 kilometers from Chibok, and close to Sambisa Forest. You can watch this broadcast live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device on the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. And coming up, PDP Caretaker Committee is still hopeful for reconciliation with aggrieved members. The details right after this break.
When has it reached this? Much less this. And this. And this. And this. Help reclaim our Commonwealth. Lend your support to the fight against corruption for a better Nigeria.
Whether you love to chit-chat, upload, or catch up on the latest gist, or you love to stream live videos, or you love to download a lot, you can do it all whenever, wherever at the friendliest data rates. Dial *131# to find the internet bundle that's perfect for you and enjoy more data, more friendships, and more fun.
MTN, everywhere you go.
It's truck month at Ford, and we've got a Ranger just for you, Vincent. Here's the Workhorse 2.5 petrol single cab with free Ford Protect, a 4-year, 120,000-kilometer service plan. Or the 2.5 petrol-based double cab with 800mm water wading capability, available in manual transmission and with free Ford Protect. So while stocks last, visit Koscharis Motors today. Because, wait for it, thanks Vincent, we've got a tough Ford Ranger just for you.
Introducing the new look of refreshment. The new, happier, friendlier packs of Happy Hour by Chivita. Packed with more bursts of fun and refreshment. Happy Hour by Chivita. Happier bursts of refreshment. Introducing the new look of refreshment. The new, happier, friendlier packs of Happy Hour by Chivita. Packed with more bursts of fun and refreshment. Happy Hour by Chivita. Happier bursts of refreshment.
Bayes University Abuja offers world-class education, uninterrupted academic session, and promising degrees for a sustainable job. Bayes University Abuja is affordable and delivers quality with experienced international staff, superb facilities, overseas external examiners, and a serene academic atmosphere. We offer quality and affordable education, and students are within easy reach of their parents here at Bayes University Abuja. So learn to live at Bayes University for a brighter future. For more information, visit our website at www.bayesuniversity.edu.ng or call 081 3376 9657 or 081 3376 9658. Bayes University Abuja. Learn to live.
My father said opportunity knocks every minute. He used to say to me that even the rising sun is an opportunity. A man must give each day everything. I live by those words. Just 1 minute of one day can change everything. Every day he stepped out with the belief that today might just be that day.
At FCMB, we believe every day is a new opportunity. Let's help you step forward and take it. FCMB, My Bank and I.
Eat fish at least twice a week, including a portion of oily fish. Fish like mackerel, sardine, fresh tuna, salmon, and catfish are a source of omega-3 fats, which can help protect the heart against diseases. But remember, pregnant women or breastfeeding mothers shouldn't take more than 2 portions of oily fish a week.
stand up. Nigeria, change is here and it's going to stay. Change begins with you. Oh yeah, make we go. Go to so let the change begin from within. Look at you, oh Gerula. Change begins with you and me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me. Why do moms do? Why do moms do the things they do? The things they do. They go the extra mile just to put the spotlight on you. Why do moms play? Why do moms play the roles they play? The roles they play. Everything works out easy when she shows us the better way. Don't you wish your mommy was fine like mine? Don't you wish your mommy was smart like mine? Don't you?
3 Crowns Milk is low in cholesterol, great tasting, and filled with essential vitamins to help moms stay fit in every moment.
3 Crowns Milk. Healthy moms, happy families.
Thanks for staying with us on NT Network News. Checking on our top story tonight, Nigeria has warned that unless there is collective resolve by world leaders to develop more effective strategies in addressing large movements of refugees and migrants, as well as humanitarian needs of IDPs in Nigeria, the global aspirations towards achieving the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals may be impeded. President Muhammadu Buhari, who gave the warning while addressing participants at the United Nations first ever summit on refugees and migrants in New York, said humanity is better promoted than protected if leaders work for the common good of all. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
Records from the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees show that an alarming 65.3 million people were displaced at the end of 2015, an increase of more than 5 million from a year earlier. The issue of what to do about this unprecedented challenge of human mobility informed the gathering of world leaders here at the United Nations headquarters on refugees, migrants, and asylum seekers. For President Muhammadu Buhari, discourse on refugees and migrants will be incomplete without reference to what he called victims of Boko Haram's terrible atrocities in Nigeria.
The Boko Haram insurgency has caused a huge refugee problem of an estimated 600,000 persons for Nigeria's neighboring nations. In Nigeria, over 2 million internally displaced persons from the northeast live in various camps across the country. I hope that the point raised here about the Boko Haram will be taken very, very seriously.
Nigeria, he however said, is not resting on its oars, as several people-oriented programs have been diligently implemented, such as the Presidential Intervention Committee on Rehabilitation of the Northeast, the Victim Support Fund, the Safe School Initiative, and the Northeast Development Commission, currently undergoing legislative process to meet the humanitarian needs of the IDPs. The country, he said, stands ready to join forces with the rest of the international community to strengthen the implementation and enforcement of human rights-based and migrant-centered responses to the global challenge occasioned by large-scale, irregular, and precarious movements of migrants and refugees.
The world is indeed in a dilemma. Nations are required under international humanitarian law to ensure the free movement of persons, particularly those escaping from imminent danger of their lives, by guaranteeing their safety, security, and dignity. Yet this responsibility comes with huge financial costs and serious implications to national peace and security for nations with fragile political and economic conditions. It is equally unfortunate that nations that are capable and willing to absorb large numbers of refugees and migrants are exercising restraint in the light of prevailing threats posed by terrorists and violent extremist groups. This is particularly important as these nations also have the corresponding obligation to protect their territorial integrity and safeguard the well-being of their own citizens.
While condemning all forms of racial discrimination, President Buhari said Nigeria is determined to join other countries in the struggle to eliminate such, saying globalization should truly mean free movement of goods, services, and people. Other speakers at the opening of the summit, including the United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, called for concrete commitments towards upholding the rights and dignity of everyone forced by circumstances to flee their homes in search of a better life.
We will ensure that no refugee or migrant is left behind.
In the meantime, a landmark New York Declaration has been adopted by the world leaders, which expresses their political will to protect the rights of refugees and migrants, save lives, and share responsibility for large movements on a global scale. From New York, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Back home, the PDP Caretaker Committee says it has not foreclosed reconciliation with other divides in the party to ensure out-of-court settlement. Chairman of the committee, Senator Ahmed Makarfi, stated this at a media briefing in Abuja. Abdullahi Garba Birnunkudu has details.
Given an update on the efforts to reconcile party members, the Caretaker Committee chairman said they remain flexible to accommodate rational views from aggrieved party members to move ahead.
Overwhelming view of majority cannot be ignored. Equally, even whoever you may classify as minority can also not be ignored in any reconciliation. Both majority and minority, no matter who you wish to classify as majority, minority, must make concession here and there.
Needs the active involvement of the People's Democratic Party as a solid, united opposition party. We do not believe in castigating government just for the sake of castigating government. Whatever criticism we have must be constructive.
On a governorship election, the party says it is on course to victory in a free and fair conduct of the September 28 election. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Birnunkudu, NTA News.
Efforts by Nigeria and some other African countries to fully embrace and begin the implementation of biotechnology in agriculture for enhanced crop production and food security are gaining momentum across the continent. This is coming as Nigeria hosts 7 international centers for genetic engineering and biotechnology member countries to a 2-week workshop. Justin Bemunyi reports.
The workshop, entitled Techniques in Molecular Biology and Genetic Engineering of Plants and Bacteria, is designed to equip participants with the understanding and skills to carry out all the techniques used in modern-day biotechnology and to have practical experience on how to generate both transgenic plant and bacteria. With the anticipated population growth in Nigeria and Africa, with attendant hunger and economic challenges, experts in the industry stressed the need for the continent to embrace the technology to handle food insecurity for a promising future.
Biotechnology is as safe as most other scientific and technological practices that we have adopted throughout the whole world. It's just like every other thing, you have to use it carefully. Rules have to be set in place.
This technology has been commercially released, commercially available, and there are many countries in the world, 28 of them, that have been producing it commercially and they have been consuming it.
The participants view the workshop as a stepping stone towards technological advancement for crop performance in Africa for economic development. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
The current state of Nigeria's aviation industry has been linked to lack of firm policy guidelines. Experts in the sector who drew attention to this on Good Morning Nigeria Monday also decried the impact of multiple taxation on operators and called for better realistic interest rates from Nigerian banks. Ann Jibuno reports.
For these experts, the challenges in the Nigerian aviation industry have been on for decades. Some of those enumerated include bureaucratic bottlenecks due to multiple layers of command in the industry, an overbloated workforce in the Nigerian aviation sector, high bank interest rates, and low passenger traffic.
We have a situation where, through the process of establishing the sector from independence to date, certain actions have been taken by various ministers that were inimical to the growth of the industry.
In the whole of Africa, this is the only country with Ministry of Aviation.
Other issues raised by the experts as responsible for the poor state of the Nigerian aviation industry are high insurance costs, lack of spare parts in the country, scarcity of Jet A1, and the current recession.
The average airplane in the world operates roughly about 11 hours, 30 minutes. In Nigeria, airplanes are operating below 4 hours.
We talk about the issue of double tariff taxation by the various parastatals.
They also called for better technology to turn around the sector so as to create jobs for pilots and suggested funding from the Bank of Industry. In Abuja, Anne Jibuno, NTA News.
And there's more on aviation ahead. The Minister of State Aviation meets unions over concession. Listen more as we link up with Jennifer in our Lagos Network Center. Jennifer?
Thank you, Cyril. Good evening and a warm welcome to Lagos. Minister of State for Aviation, Hadi Sirika, has declared that the federal government intends to protect jobs in the aviation industry with the proposed concessioning of some airports in the country. He spoke in Lagos at a meeting with two unions in the aviation industry in respect of the proposed concessioning, which the unions have opposed. Musa Toliat has the details.
The meeting with the two leading unions in the Nigeria's aviation industry, the Air Transport Services Senior Staff Association of Nigeria and the National Union of Air Transport Employees, is the federal government's ongoing consultation with strategic stakeholders in the aviation industry on the proposed concessioning of some airports in the country. This consultation is critical because of the need to douse the anxiety of the leadership and members of the two unions who have initially opposed the planned concessioning. Minister of State for Aviation says government's intention is to improve infrastructure and service delivery in the airports through concessioning, and that the initiative would create more jobs in the industry, contrary to the fears of the unions that their members will lose jobs.
We're thinking of the people first. We can never sell their assets. We will promote, protect, develop, and make better their assets because it's a national asset that belongs to 180 million of us.
The minister disclosed that the federal government has a list of 26 initiatives that would not only reform the industry, but make Nigeria a thriving aviation hub in Africa. To ensure transparency in the proposed concession, the two unions were urged to send their representatives to the project delivery team that has been constituted to implement the concessioning.
We're going to monitor it fully in such a way that they don't abuse the privilege that the government has given to them to grow.
Our position is the same. You can drive this process to a conclusion.
The airports earmarked for concessioning are Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and Kano International Airports. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
Now, the Bank of Industry and the Nigeria Incentive-Based Risk-Sharing System for Agricultural Lending have endorsed a partnership aimed at developing the agricultural sector. Amechi Pius reports that both agencies signed a memorandum of understanding to provide farmers and stakeholders in the sector with investable funds to grow their businesses.
According to the acting managing director of the Bank of Industry, Waid Olagunju, the memorandum of understanding is aimed at providing operators of businesses in the agricultural sector with access to cheap funds. The whole idea is to achieve food security for the nation, reverse the disturbing trend of importation of food, and conserve foreign exchange for Nigeria.
We'll give them capacity building. We'll give them all the technical and business advisory support and stay with them and hold their hands. We know that the environment can be quite challenging, so that's why they need a lot of hand-holding. And of course, our business development service providers will also come on board. Our SME consultants will also support them as well. And we have a lot of expertise that we can also leverage on.
Under the arrangement, the bank, is said, will provide funds that will be guaranteed by the Nigerian incentive-based risk-sharing system for agricultural lending.
You can access this relationship and make your business in agricultural value chain, provided if you're a smallholder, you belong to a group of like minds. And if you can come together and show that you want to do fish, you want to do maize, you want to do rice, just indicate to us who are the members of your cooperative. 15, 20, 25. We will then carry you all the way. The most important thing for us is that we should see sincerity, we should see the fact that you have the landed asset, and we should see that you want to really approach this and create wealth for yourself.
The initiative is part of government's strategic plan to boost non-oil exports, particularly agriculture, create wealth and job opportunities, as well as tackle unemployment and poverty in the country. In Lagos, Amechi Pius, NTA News.
You're watching NTA Network News from the Lagos Network Center. At this point, we take some messages. The news returns shortly with Cyril in Abuja. Stay with us.
This must be one of Mother Nature's greatest gifts. But there's something else it gives us. When we see such beauty, we want to share it with those we love. That's what LG wants you to see. Just what we see now, through our technology. LG OLED TV.
The Honorable Minister of Transportation, Right Honorable Chibuike Rotimi Amechi, will inaugurate the recently reconstituted Board of Directors, the Nigerian Ports Authority (NPA), as scheduled below. Date: Thursday, 22nd September 2016. Time: 2 p.m. prompt. Venue: Boardroom of the Federal Ministry of Transportation, Jeep Karima House, Central Business District, Abuja. All board member designates are by this notice enjoined to be present at the ceremony. Signed, Management. NPA, National Brand Asset, anchored on service excellence.
What happened? It was a mosquito. Daddy, here.
What's happening here?
Mama, mosquitoes.
I sprayed, but the mosquitoes aren't dying. No longer, because I bought Motane Power Guard, which kills 100% mosquitoes. Motane Power Guard kills 100% mosquitoes.
I recently started using Nigerian Pampers and it's been wonderful.
It's way better and lighter.
She's been wearing this for about 8 hours now, and as you can see, it's really dry.
More baby friendly, it absorbs way better than it used to.
I tried it all through the night. She used it, even when I woke up this morning, it was not that heavy.
Your baby is happy, your baby is comfortable.
This new Nigerian Pampers, I will go for it.
Hey, I just had a shower, but why do I still feel so hot and sweaty? Let me finish this and I will show you something surprising. Let's take a look. See, heat means sweat. Sweat brings germs. Dettol 100 times cool. It removes germs to leave you feeling clean, fresh, and 100 times cool. Beat the heat and germs with Dettol 100 times cool.
Dettol, endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
Back to network news from Abuja. The National Bureau of Statistics is to begin data gathering for improved socio-economic development of Nigeria. Seun Ogunluyi has details on business news.
All right, time now to look at development in the world of business. The National Bureau of Statistics is set to embark on the 5th round of multiple indicator cluster survey to bring about a more encompassing database for the country in a bid to improve information for socio-economic development. The Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey is an international household survey program developed by UNICEF. The survey seeks to provide up-to-date information on the situation of children and women in Nigeria.
We must have a prior knowledge of estimated number of persons below the age of 5, estimated number of women between the age of 15 and 49. So we have revised and updated the frame, we call it frame, in preparation for this.
This is the first time that Nigeria is using computer-assisted personal interview, that is CAPI, to collect data on MIC. And as the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, commences its 252nd Monetary Policy Committee meeting, MPC meeting today, investors would be looking up to the committee for favorable rate decisions that would spur investment as well as stimulate the country's ailing economy. The two-day meeting, which would be the fifth to be held this year, holds in Abuja, and members of the committee will determine whether or not to adjust upward or downward the benchmark monetary policy rate MPR, which was raised to 14% from 12%. Next is graphical illustration of trading figures on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange this Monday. And that's the business news for now. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Sean. Time now to go over to our Benin Network Center for details on the condition of Auchi Okpela Abuja Highway. Abenze is sitting in tonight from our Benin Network Center. Abenze.
Cyril, welcome to Benin. Delta State Governor Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa has assured local and foreign investors of high returns on investments if they tap into the business opportunities in the state. The governor gave the assurance when he delivered a lecture on public policy at the dialogue with policy makers in Lagos. Ifoma Okafor reports.
In a lecture titled Public Policy and Governance in Delta State, Opportunities and Challenges, Governor Okowa disclosed that his administration's vision is to make Delta State the pace-setter by building an enduring legacy of wealth and prosperity and developing the non-oil sectors of the economy, which will create jobs and accelerate infrastructural development.
For too long, we have emphasized certificate acquisition, and I don't think that has helped our people, especially in growing jobs. So we are trying to emphasize the need for skills acquisition, why not preventing you from acquiring certificates.
The event was organized by the Lagos Business School and Nigerian Economic Summit Group. Ifoma Okafor, NTA News.
A professor of social studies, Sunday Ede Iyamu, has identified inadequate social amenities as responsible for the ills of the Nigerian society. He stated this while delivering the 177th University of Benin inaugural lecture titled Social Studies for Hood. Can the school compensate for the Nigerian society? Steve Lonai Wokolo has the details.
Professor Ede Iyamu, whose lecture highlighted some of the inadequacies in the Nigerian society that predispose behaviors that are against the goals and ideals of the school, described HOOD, which is a component of the lecture title, as an acronym of honesty, obedience, orderliness, and diligence. He decried the erosion of these attributes in the Nigerian society, which he says are prerequisites for a nation building and change.
We are recommending that we need some socio-political, economic, and cultural reforms to create an enabling environment for the schools to have real impact in society.
It addresses the social ills in the society and how it can also be corrected effectively.
At large, government, teachers and parents would apply the things that we were taught today, society will become a good place to live in.
This lecture coming from Faculty of Education today is very instructive.
It has to do with value orientation, which Mr. President has just launched again, talking about the change.
In Benin, Steve Lona and Waukolo, NTA News.
Cyril, we're done from here. It's back to you again.
Thank you, Amenze. The Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions, NASU, has appealed to government to settle issues surrounding the partial implementation of the 2009 agreement to avoid the disruption of academic activities in higher institutions. The appeal was made during the association's National Executive Council meeting held in Abuja. Labour correspondent Emmanuel Anyimiro completes the report.
This knowledge has become the most important factor for economic development in the 21st century. NASU wants higher institutions to be adequately funded so as to be able to attain advancement in knowledge.
In year 2014, the government released to the universities the sum of 200 billion naira as intervention fund
with a promise to release additional 100 billion yearly. Nothing has happened to the promise of the 100 billion naira yearly for another 2 years.
Other areas to be addressed include shortfall in personnel emolument of tertiary institutions, non-implementation of 65 years retirement age policy of NASU members by state governments, partial implementation of 2009 and 2010 agreements, as well as issues of non-funding of staff schools by the federal government.
This agreement ought to have been renegotiated because this is 2009 agreement that's supposed to subsist only for 5 years.
In Abuja, Emmanuel Ayemiru, NTA News.
Still ahead, the beaten happenings around the world, sports and the weather prospects after these messages.
The state of the aviation industry in Nigeria is the focus this week on NTA Tuesday Live, as experts x-ray the industry and prefer solutions to take the sector to the top in line with best practices. NTA Tuesday Live, incisive, educative and informative. Don't miss it.
If we have lost the opportunity of 15 years, let us no longer lose any opportunity for the future. Our alternative is agriculture immediately and solid minerals.
We should be appreciative of the president who has again diverted attention to this issue of agriculture.
The present administration is determined to go back to planning, identify priorities beforehand. When money comes, it is applied to that purpose. You can see the results.
We are determined to rehabilitate our country, especially for our children and our grandchildren.
Your feet are stomping and the gym is pumping. Look at the crowd is jumping. Pump up your jam and push up your hand. You know, say me fans them plenty like sun. Jump up and dance, make them understand. Say me energy could I never be contraband. No matter what life throws at me, I can handle it constantly. All of my fans them invited. DJ, make my day.
Make my day. Make my day. Make my day.
Eating tomatoes helps reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease. Tomatoes contain important nutrients like niacin, folate, and vitamin B6. You should eat healthy foods to keep your heart in a good condition.
Thanks for staying with us on the news. Now for a quick look on the global scene, here is Chimdima Ndubisi.
New York officials have named 28-year-old Afghan-American Ahmad Rahami as main suspect in Chelsea District Saturday